What's going on, guys? Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel here. Just released a video earlier just talking about Tennessee news and notes tonight. Unfortunately, Tennessee gets some pretty rough news tonight. And honestly, I don't think it's unexpected. I don't think it's a surprise based on what we saw at the end of the year. I've speculated on here for really going back to last weekend, maybe a couple weeks. Now, this was what I feared, but just based on what I saw, I thought it was leading that way, and some speculation I'd seen as well. But AJ Russell is set to have surgery tomorrow to repair the UCL. So it is Tommy John surgery he will be having tomorrow. And I think there's a pretty good possibility that his 2025 season is in serious jeopardy. I think there's probably, I haven't seen players actually go through this firsthand. Actually seen the rehab they go through and stuff like that, knowing the recovery time on it. I don't know that we see AJ Russell pitch again for Tennessee. Here's why. Now, some of you are going to say, well, he'll be back. He can redshirt next year and come back after that. Here's the thing about it, though, with Tommy John surgery. It is not, at one time it was a career-ending injury. Now you're seeing guys, it's becoming more common. I mean, it's not, still a lower percentage of pitchers, but you see guys come back from it, especially after their first one. Now, some of them, like a Spencer Strider this year, having his second Tommy John surgery. But we've seen these guys. You saw it with Ben Joyce a couple years ago. He come back from Tommy John. He's throwing up to 105. AJ Russell was already throwing hard. He's going to throw harder when he comes back. Teams like, I think of the Atlanta Braves in particular, they're not afraid to draft these guys with Tommy John surgery. You look at Strider. He'd already had one before. You look at Schwellenbacher, I think's his name, for them now. He's had one a couple years ago. You had Owen Murphy now, who was doing good. One of their top prospects has one. Of course, they'd already drafted him. But a Tommy John surgery is not necessarily a detriment to a player. From what I've read and stuff, you get a shoulder injury, that's when there's issues with. That's why the Braves traded Kyle Wright this past off season, because it was a shoulder injury. It wasn't Tommy John. Tommy John, they rehab for, depending on where you read, Chicago's sports surgery I read here said typically with pitchers, they're not throwing for 12 months. They're in a cast for 6 months, for 6 weeks. They can kind of resume a little bit of activities, and then 6 months said they start kind of rehabbing. Said position players can start throwing maybe at about 9 months, but pitchers it's closer to 12 months. And then on MajorLeagueBaseball.com, where they talk about the just going on the various injuries, the percentage of them and stuff, that it can be anywhere from 12 to 18 months that it can take for that. So it is very possible that AJ Russell's career at Tennessee is over, and wish him best down the line or whatever. But with his stuff and what he's doing, we saw what little bit we saw of him this year. I would not be surprised to see a team, again, the Braves are one that comes to mind, that they're not afraid to take those guys coming off of Tommy John. It might be a perfect fit for them. You get a guy possibly a little lower than he normally would be, but that's the least of the concerns there. Wish AJ Russell a speedy recovery. It sucks for him. But I wonder if Tennessee's been prepared for this as well. I don't know for sure right now he's out for next year. If he's having the surgery tomorrow and at a minimum of 12 months, I mean, that's pretty much putting him out for the year. I really don't think there's much doubt about that. So, with the Tennessee staff already having to replace their starting rotation for next year, Causey's the only possibility. And I've said it numerous times, I think Causey gets drafted. So Tennessee's going to have to hit that portal for starting pitching, because you would have hoped, my best case, I hope, was maybe a little cleanup or something, and Russell, do a little bit of rehab and be good to go next year. And unfortunately, the worst case has happened. He is out for, he will have the Tommy John for the UCL, and I got to think that puts him out all of next year. It sucks. It's an unfortunate blow for the team. But again, I don't know if it's anything unexpected. So it'll be curious to see how Tennessee adds through the portal now with starting pitching. You got to think there's some guys currently on the team who didn't factor in as much this year that may be a candidate to step up in that rotation next year. But you also got to think, considering they had Tommy Lapour in from Wichita State this past weekend, you got to think they may have a good shot there. There's guys hitting the portal every day, a ton of them, and especially with coaching changes going on right now and stuff, you got to think Tennessee's going to be hot and heavy after a pitcher. But unfortunate news on this Monday night. But again, I'm probably getting kind of repetitious here. I don't think it's anything unsurprising, to be honest with you. But we'll wish AJ Russell best. Hope everything goes good for his surgery, speedy recovery, and that he wherever he resumes his career, whether it's 2 years from now in Knoxville or whether it's whether he begins his major league career at that point. It'll be interesting to see, but I do think there is that real possibility that we've seen the last of AJ Russell pitching for Tennessee, and we'll see. But I will have a preview tomorrow night for Tennessee's regional coming up. We'll talk about Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina, kind of take a look at that. And then, we'll go from there the rest of the week. Of course, I'll be live. Tennessee plays Friday night, 7 o'clock against Florida State on ESPN. And, I hope you'll check out the news and notes from earlier. So I talked a little bit about the portal, a visitor in town, Tony Vitello's epic rant from last night, and more. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. Have a great Tuesday. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Last but most certainly not least, go Vols.